This is Bruce Friedman of Adult Site Broker, and welcome to Adult Site Broker Talk, where every week we interview one of the movers and shakers of the adult industry and discuss what's going on in our business. Plus, we give you a tip on buying and selling websites. This week we'll be talking to Filip, the CEO of Quantos Technology. Adult Site Broker is proud to announce Adult Site Broker Cash, the first affiliate program for an adult website brokerage. With Adult Site Broker Cash, you'll have the chance to earn as much as 20% of our broker commission referring sellers and buyers to us at Adult Site Broker. Check our website at adultsitebroker.com for more details. First of all, today let's cover some of the news going on in our industry. Jim McBride, CEO of nude celebrity site Mr. Skin, has announced a $10,000 pledge of support to the Chicago Community Bond Fund, the Collaboration Theater Company, the Gray Matter Experience, and the nonprofit affiliated with Black Lives Matter in Chicago to bolster local communities. McBride said, "When I launched Mr. Skin 21 years ago, it was always my mission to celebrate the human body in all its shapes, sizes, and colors. What we do has always been intended to be lighthearted and joy-sparking, and we've typically avoided addressing political and social issues. Today, however, there's a movement happening around the country and in our city which requires our energy and public support. Systemic racism and police brutality against people of color have plagued our city of Chicago for far too long, and we all must do our part as members of the community to make a difference. In addition to these donations, our company is planning to offer ongoing support of local Chicago charities through the regular volunteer work organized by our staff." Wilhan Moranto, a San Francisco-based man who owned the adult classified ads website CityX Guide, was arrested Wednesday in Fremont, California by federal authorities following his indictment in Texas earlier this month in the most high-profile multi-state legal action since the shuttering of Backpage.com in 2018. Moranto's arrest and the seizure of CityX Guide by authorities who replaced the website with a law enforcement placard is the first such raid since President Donald Trump signed FOSTA SESTA into law in April 2018. The Backpage.com raids and seizures predated Trump's signature ceremony by only a few days. According to the Associated Press and the East Bay Times, the 46-year-old Moranto is being held in the Santa Rita County Jail without bail after his Wednesday arrest, awaiting extradition to Dallas. The Texas indictment against Moranto was filed June 2nd and includes 28 federal charges, among them conspiracy, money laundering, and promotion and facilitation of prostitution. The indictment links Moranto to a network of adult-oriented websites like CityX Guide, Body Rub Shop, and variations of the name of the shuttered Backpage.com. Prosecutors also claim that in January 2019, Moranto sent an email expressing a desire to take over from where Backpage left off. Now let's feature our property of the week that's for sale at Adult Site Broker. We're selling a rapidly growing bukkake pay site. The site started in 2015. This is a very rare amateur bukkake site that's based in the U.S. The content features local, amateur, and never-before-seen girls doing gangbangs and bukkake. There is no other site out there quite like it. It's very unique, and the style is in high demand. They've been able to be quite successful without much marketing, which leaves a tremendous opportunity for a new company to come in and build the site up even further. The sale also includes their clip store. Their retention rate is high, and the site has many loyal members. This is a tremendous opportunity for either an existing company or a new one trying to break into this industry. The site has been reduced in price to only $158,000 due to the owner looking for a quick sale and a move into a mainstream project. Now time for this week's interview. Today on Adult Site Broker Talk, I'm speaking to one of my favorite people in this industry and in general, Filip, the Chief Executive Officer of Quantos Technology, the leading development and outsourcing company in the adult and affiliate spaces. Filip, thanks for being with us today.
Hey, Bruce. Always nice talking to you, and thanks for having me.
Now, here's a bit about Quantos Technology. Quantos has been doing development and outsourcing work in the adult and affiliate spaces for over 14 years now. Quantos has grown to over 250 people, including developers, programmers, customer support agents, virtual assistants, and more. They do all types of web and mobile development, including native apps. At Quantos, your employee, not to mention your entire project, won't suddenly disappear and run away in the middle of the night. That's because they're a company and not an individual. So you can count on the fact your project will be completed and completed on time and on budget. Their staff speak and write in fluent English, again, unlike many competitors. With a dedicated staff, your project will be done on a cost-efficient basis, and since they're offshore, you save money. They're frequent sponsors and great supporters of industry trade shows, so you see Filip, Vuk, Dan, and the rest of the Quantos team often. Filip, why don't you just tell us a little bit more about your company, that maybe some of the things I didn't cover?
Sure. I will be glad to do that. So next year it will be 15 years that we exist and operate. So we are planning a big party. Everybody will be invited.
Nice.
So basically the company exists for last 15 years. First couple of years, our main focus was basically working in affiliate industry as one of the companies, and then basically somehow we slowly switched to more technical side of things. And I actually joined company like 10 years ago, and that's when the decision was made to switch focus completely on technical side and on development. I myself am software engineer, so basically Vuk, or Lycos, how many people from industry knows him, is a very good friend of mine from childhood actually. So he called me one day and told me that basically he would have a very interesting opportunity for us to work together. And the rest is history. That was 10 years ago. We started having me as the only developer, and then we have two managers. So it was interesting setup. You have one guy who is coding, and then you have two guys managing him. But over the years, we managed to grow a bit. So first, we started expanding here in Serbia, where we are actually based. And right now, we have 5 development centers here in Serbia, and we also expanded to some other countries last year. So we also have our own development center in Macedonia and Ukraine. So right now we are at something about 270 people, maybe a bit more.
Jeez.
And in total we have 7 different development centers. So a lot of coding going on inside our offices every day.
That's insane. Over 270. Wow. So how about you? How did you get involved in this business and to the point where you're at today as the CEO of one of the top development companies in the world?
Yeah, well, actually, it's interesting. As I mentioned previously, I was actually in a banking sector, working as a developer in one big bank here in Serbia. And then basically, when I switched here to Quantos, it was like a logical thing that with Vuk's background in affiliate and adult industry, our first clients came exactly from those industries. And then it just grew organically because we did our best, Basically, our first clients were usually close friends of ours. So, making errors or mistake was not an option. Obviously, it has to be perfect. And, once you do something well, then, they go and recommend you to somebody else. And that's how we slowly grew, organically. In first couple of years, I think we didn't even do so many shows or, did any, professional marketing or anything like that. It was just you finish one product and then you move on to the next one. And then you get an email from somebody telling you, hey, I heard from a friend of mine working with you that you guys can do some, coding for me and stuff like that. And, that's how we grew. And actually, even today, we don't have any professional sales team. as you know, it's just me, Vuk, and then talking with our the conferences and discussing any opportunities, new projects where they need our help and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. You talk about references. There was somebody went on XBiz, and I'm sure you saw this the other day, and said, "Hey, can you recommend a developer?" And oh my, Quantos. Just about everybody replied Quantos. That'll kind of tell you where you're at in the industry.
Well, yeah, I think that first, I'm sure that there are many good developers out there and many good development companies out there, and we would not dare to say that we are, better than the others. What we feel.
Name three.
What I wanted to say is basically what we feel is perhaps our advantage is the experience we have in this particular domain. So basically what clients really enjoy when they start working with us is the fact that, they actually don't get only like developers, they get some kind of consulting because, whatever type of product they are trying to build, there is a big chance that you already built something like that, same or similar. So we can already share some experiences. We already know what are the potential pitfalls, what are the challenges, and things like that. So that makes our estimations quite precise, which prevents later delays and stuff like that. So I think that's what makes working with us nice thing for our clients, because they don't have come and explain us okay, so I need to explain you how, I don't know, some affiliate dashboard works, or what's CPA, what's CPC, or what's Flip site, or
what's NAFs, like what's certain other platforms that people have to integrate.
When it comes to implementing and working with other partners, like let's say payment processing companies, we are already very familiar with all of them. We know people within all of these companies, Same goes for the hosting companies, for the alt industry, for example, and stuff like that. So, when people come to us and they tell us, okay, so we are thinking about working with this company, we already know who is the owner, who is the manager, and it's easier for them. Then we tell them, don't worry, we'll take care of everything. So.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I mean, my own personal experience, which I've told you before, but I'll say it here. I worked with many developers over the years. I got to say that I didn't leave one relationship with a good feeling. I've worked with you guys for years. You do all of my sites. You do all my clients' projects and sites, and not a hitch, not a problem. So, Filip, what do you like to do in your spare time when you're not working?
Well, actually, when I'm not working and when I'm not traveling, I like to spend time with my family. That's definitely priority number one. 2 small kids and wife, so enjoying spending time with them. Usually nature, hiking, and doing things like that. So that's number one. And then the second thing that I try to do sometimes is actually do some coding myself, because as I mentioned, my background is also software engineering, and I used to be developer for many years, which is again something that usually helps me when I'm talking with our potential clients about new projects, because they have one person to talk to about all the business side of things, but also technical side of things, which sometimes is easier and more straightforward. So I try to keep myself involved in that world, and use some spare time to do some coding, or to just read some new stuff, and stay up to date with new technologies, because everything is changing very, very quickly.
Sure. So you do coding for fun. Okay. Hey, why not?
I cannot say that my wife enjoys me coding.
Oh, exactly. Boy, I'll tell you, Filip's spoken like a true tech geek.
Yeah.
Yeah, he pleads guilty to that one. So, you guys specialize in the adult and affiliate spaces, and I know you also have a number of Fortune 500 companies and Fortune 100 companies that you work with. But how important is it to deal with a development company that specializes in our industry?
Yeah, well, I think it's very, very important, because Basically, what many people who are not directly involved in adult industry don't know, it's very demanding when it comes to technology side of things. Like you have a lot of payment processing, you have huge amounts of traffic, you have
Sure.
design and coding that needs to be compatible with every possible device out there. So you have your campaigns that are launched, and during those campaigns, everything has to work perfectly because clients are burning ridiculously huge amounts of money for short period of time. So
Sure.
there's zero error for mistakes and stuff like that. So it can be very challenging. Sometimes we talk with other development companies like here from Serbia that are working for some other industries, and we realize that actually our projects are quite complex. They're not simple ones. So from that point of view,
No.
it really helps to have somebody who understands processes, understands risks, understands like what are you trying to achieve with a certain product or a project, and can help you with that. So yeah,
What's new in the development world that maybe people like me who aren't really technical, not at all technical, what's new in the development world that people should know about?
well, there are many new technologies coming like almost every year that
Hmm.
create a hype, and some are here to stay and some just disappear.
Right.
Like blockchain, for example, it was a big thing, like uh, I think 2 years ago and 3 years ago. And like everybody wanted to do something with blockchain, and everybody tried to basically put it as part of their project, even when it's not necessarily needed. But as you know, crypto went down, and then the demand for blockchain projects also went down. So it was kind of for a couple of years now. There are still projects that demand that, but not so much. And same goes with some other technologies like VR and AR. That's like something that's always like it's still on the edge. Honestly, I'm not sure what's going to happen. We had a
Right.
chance to work with some really great VR companies and develop some nice products for them, and we
Right.
know how cool the whole experience can be. On the other hand, I know all the challenges that they are dealing with, and I'm really hoping that they will manage, to get through them, and to have successful products.
Sure.
So yeah, there are like many of these new things. On the other hand, there are some technologies and some things that, like in some cases, the thing is about technologies is in some cases, clients are always insisting that it has to be some super cutting edge technology. At the end of the day, it doesn't always have to be the most important thing, because sometimes it's better that you have your code and your code base coded according to certain standards and best practices, nicely organized, well documented, that you have a good team, and things will work just fine. You don't need some cutting edge technology to make it work every
Okay.
time, of course.
No, that makes sense. So we talked a little bit about this before, but okay, let's say I'm someone who's looking for development and I don't know who to talk to, and we're talking. Why would I pick your company?
Yeah, well, of course, that's always a challenge, to figure out which company to work with, because obviously you get to choose among many companies nowadays. There are also many agencies. They usually don't have their own developers, but they would offer you development services, and then they would outsource it to somebody else. So this is something that can be kind of tricky sometimes, because you have like two steps of outsourcing. So a lot of
Yeah.
communication, if it's done properly, it can take a lot of your development time. Uh,
Yes.
on the other hand, the other option is obviously, hiring somebody in-house, or basically hiring a freelancer. Well, the main challenge both of these things is that if you don't have somebody who is capable of doing that selection and interviewing process, then you don't know how to do it. So that's the first thing. So if you go on any freelance website and try to choose some developer, you will see a bunch of nice profiles, but how do you know how to pick any of those and they will be any good? And same goes if you hire somebody in-house. So yeah, basically what we try to do is, obviously, if we are talking about our industry, we like to show our portfolio, and that usually, reassures people that like if we are working with this and this company, it has to mean something. We try to be very transparent. We always kindly ask our clients if it's okay for our new potential clients to call them and talk directly. So that's one thing that we like. So we have absolutely no issues with that. So we always, if we are onboarding a new client, they would like to learn more about us, I would send them a reference list of like 5 or 10 well-known companies and their representatives, and tell them, okay, just let me know which of those you would like to talk to, and I will organize a call. I don't need to be present on that call. You can talk directly. So, and that works pretty well. There are some other things, obviously, that we can do and that we try to do on the sales side. But in most cases, this is not a really big industry. So, if you do something, everybody will know very soon. So you better not do that. And
a simple Google search takes care of a lot.
Exactly. Well, on the other hand, what we like to mention as kind of good side of working with a company like ours is that kind of continuity and persistence that you get, because you don't have any issues with your developer leaving the company, or your freelance developer working with you just stop answering your calls, which happens more than you would like to know, because we have a lot of clients.
Yes, it does.
Here it's a bit better, because obviously, first thing, as I mentioned, we are here 15 years in this industry, so we are here to stay. And on the other hand, you get like a regular B2B contract, company to company, and then we make sure that even if we are not wizards here. Obviously, our developers sometimes leave company also. That's normal thing. But certain processes which allow us to basically do a proper knowledge handover, and make sure that before that developer leaves company, he basically does all the knowledge transfer to the next one that we again handpick for your project, and make sure that he's a good fit and stuff like that. So that's something that, and at the end of the day, we have to make sure that things work well, because as you mentioned, we visit and we like to support many conferences, and we like to see our clients face to face. And I really don't situation where I will be avoiding any of our clients. I want a situation where basically I will be happy to meet all of our clients and share a beer and talk about their project or talk about whatever.
Exactly. So put yourself in the shoes for a minute of a client. Give us some tips and tricks when they're hiring an outsourcing company. What should they do?
Yeah. So basically, first thing that we always talk with our clients, with our new clients, is explaining them that outsourcing is two-way street, and they have to be ready for it.
Yep.
So it's not, it doesn't work in a way that you can just simply have enough money on your account and they pay outsourcing company and they are some kind of a black box that will just spit your product on the other side. It doesn't work. So basically, what you need to do and what you need to make sure is that you have a dedicated resource within your current team who will be and committed on daily basis working with us. Sometimes it doesn't have to be really on a daily basis, but basically it means that this person, it's best if this is somebody who can be a decision maker, who can make quick decisions, and who basically has this kind of authority.
Right.
So this is something that we always suggest, because it's super important. Otherwise, it gets very tricky. There are like different types of projects that we onboard. Sometimes it's like new projects, and in those situations, it's enough if you can commit one of your product owners, or one of your managers from the company, know the process well, and then know exactly what they need. And sometimes we start working with new companies who already have their technical products and already have their tech teams. In that case, it's very beneficial if they can, commit certain time from one of their lead developers to work with our team, at least during the onboarding period. So that's something that we feel is very important. On the other hand, when they start choosing the company, I don't know, like first you need to figure out what technologies you are working with or what technologies you want to start working with, and then what's the domain you're working with. And those are usually like two parameters that you can use to select the best company for you, because obviously it's very good if they have previous experience in that domain, and they need to have people who are experienced with that specific technology that you will be working with.
Okay. Now, what should someone expect and not expect from an outsourcing company?
Yeah, well, that's good question. Part of it I already mentioned in my previous answers. Basically, what you should expect is reliability, continuity, full support and understanding, flexibility and stuff like that. Definitely. What you should also expect is that basically they will warn you about certain potential issues and pitfalls because their job and that's their responsibility. On the other hand, what you should not expect from them is to make business decisions for you. That's something that you have to make by yourself.
Right.
So, which means that basically, from technical point of view, we can always, tell you, okay, so this is not the best solution to certain problem because of this and this. On the other hand, we cannot tell you like you need to make this button green because your conversion rates will be bigger, because that's not what we do. We are developers, we don't have experience in that area, and we don't want to take that kind of responsibility on our side.
Of course not.
The business decisions is something that you have to make. When it comes to technical side of things, we can always and we will always warn you if we feel that something should be done different.
Okay. Now, what kind of mistakes do people make when hiring an outsourcing company?
Well, mistakes. First, obviously, budgeting and costs are important for everybody. That's normal. On the other hand, I'm sorry to say that more than once we had situations where basically, clients will talk with us, we will give them some proposal. They will tell us, hey, we have this other company, offering us same for much less time or much less money. Now, if it's for much less money, sometimes it's even possible that simply processes and operations in this other company are set in a way that they can work for less money, and that's fine, But if it's less time, then please don't trust it, because you can build something cheaper. That's fine. Maybe they are working some other economy. Maybe they are like, especially like if that's some type of projects that they are specialized for. Maybe they are like even more specialized than us. They can do it quicker, easier. That's completely fine. And if they can do it for a better price, okay. But if they tell you that they can do it in less time, then don't trust it. And another thing that basically happens that we see quite often, like we talk with a certain company, and we try to give them some proposal, some estimation. But if we are talking about some big product, then it's a process. It takes time. So first thing that you can do is tell them like, okay, this is going to be roughly 6 to 8 months to build. And then you need to talk about much more details to come to the actual costs and stuff like that. And then, sometimes they come back to us and they tell us, hey, this other company, they offered us like X amount of money for this. And then I'm like, okay, but can you tell me how are they going to do this, this, and this? And they answer, we have no idea. And then I ask them, but how can they even give you proposal if they don't know how they are going to build it or what is it that they are building actually?
Yeah.
So these are some common mistakes, basically, because obviously I do understand people from other companies coming to us. They have responsibilities over there also. And for them, it's best if they can go back to their shareholders or their boss and tell him, okay, so I got this offer. They are building for X amount of money, X amount of time, period. It sounds nice and simple. But in real life, it doesn't work like that. In real life, development is quite more complex. It usually has to be agile. You can do some budgeting. Obviously, you have to do some budgeting, but it cannot be like that precise for long and complex projects. If you are building a simple WordPress site, of course. If you are building a new campsite or new dating platform, then it's a bit more tricky.
Sure. So what are the biggest mistakes development teams make, and how do you guys avoid them?
Yeah, well, basically, what we have seen here, like in Eastern Europe and also in Serbia, is basically that a lot of demand for development is coming in from other countries, and there are many companies emerging on the market. And what they don't want to do, they don't want to miss any opportunity, to get some project and get some client.
Sure.
With those intentions, basically, what they do is they onboard projects that they are not capable of completing. And I really hate when that happens, because, like right now, in the last couple of years, Serbia is kind of a hotspot for development. And there are like certain regions and areas that people say, okay, these guys are really good developers, these guys are so. And I would like to keep a good reputation. And that's why always, when I have like local conferences, I always encourage people and tell them, look, don't onboard projects that you cannot handle.
Yeah.
Don't ruin our reputation. You will not benefit from it. It's just a small, quick win, and then you will have much more on the bad side of things. So
Of course. Yeah. So how do you avoid those problems? By just telling them not to take on anything that they can't handle?
That's a good question. That's a really good question, because obviously it's easy for us now to tell that after 15 years and completing so many projects. Now we know exactly what we can do, what we cannot do. At the start, it was not like that. It was much harder. I remember myself, 12, 13 years ago, like I would get requests for some new project. It would take me so much time just to estimate. But I think that's also the answer. Basically, you need to invest much more time in that initial research period and planning, because like if 12 years ago somebody would come and ask us to build a dating platform for them, I would probably have no idea what it was inside. I would go and I would see the interface, and I would know from my experience how they look and work, but I would have no idea like what's under the hood, what's that other part, and that part is huge, like especially in dating. That's why I mentioned. Basically, what you have to do in those situations is invest much more time in learning, and also be very straightforward to your potential client and tell them, look, guys, we haven't done this before. We will work our best to make it happen. We will give you some better conditions, but we want to be fully transparent with you and tell you that we will need quite a lot of hand-holding from your side to make sure that we deliver. Because we are good programmers, we can code things, but there will be many things that we will have to work out together.
Always best to be honest.
Exactly.
So how do you choose the best technology for my project? What do you do to make sure you're using the best technology?
Yeah. So basically, when it comes to that part, our policy is to try to use the most commonly used technology that will basically comply to all the needs that you have. So the thing is that basically, when we build some new product for a client, we always try to make it in such a way that we don't build something that will be very hard to maintain later on. So it doesn't always have to be like the latest and the best technology.
Sure.
It's better something that has like a good community, good knowledge base, technology that has a lot of developers available, and that later you can easily scale, because obviously if things go well, you will need more people for that project. So you don't want something to be able to find, but also like very, very honestly and transparently, something that if client decides to take his project and move to some other company, he will be able to do. So that's again something that's totally fine with us. On the other hand, in some specific cases, requests are very specific, and they demand very specific technologies. And actually, we had few situations and opportunities where certain platforms or parts of certain platforms, they need to, work like super fast or super secure or something like that. Again, strategy that we usually apply in those situations is, okay, so if we have this segment of the product that needs to work like super fast, we can build only that part using specific technology. And then the rest can be built using regular PHP, for example. So if you need, because why would you build the whole platform using, I don't know, Python, which is fast or something like that? If you don't have to, you can just build like one or two services that will do that. And then the rest can be your regular PHP that will be easier for you and cheaper for you to maintain.
Makes sense. Well, hey, Filip, I'd really like to thank you very much for being on Adult Site Broker Talk today. And I really hope we get a chance to do it again soon. My broker tip today is part 6 of what to do to make your site more valuable for when you decide to sell it later. Here's more information on what to give to a potential buyer. How well has your content been protected from piracy, and what steps have you taken to protect your content? Are you using a piracy takedown or monitoring service? These are important facts to know. What promotional tools do you offer to your affiliates? The more tools you offer, the more successful your affiliates will be. What is your traffic breakdown by country? Tier 1 countries like the USA, Canada, the UK, Germany, and Australia are the most preferred. Add in anything else that will add value to the sale of your property that you can think of, such as what custom scripts do you use? What content management system software is on your site? Do you use billing or affiliate software like NATS or MPA3? What is your retention rate? How you retain your members is of the utmost importance. How many joins and rebuilds do you have per day? Do you buy advertising? And if so, what kind? Can your content make more money in the DVD or VOD markets? Or have you already taken advantage of this opportunity? How much did you spend to produce or buy the content that's on your site? What do you believe the content is worth now? What's special or different about your website? How is it unique? Make sure and include a list of all of the websites you're selling, in addition to any domains that come along with the sale. Is there anything that adds value to the sale? Provide them with any additional information upon request. Before giving a buyer any information, have them sign a non-disclosure agreement. If you use a broker, the NDA will be provided for you. Good brokers, like Adult Site Broker, have a large resource of potential buyers that are looking for properties just like yours. And they know how to deal with potential buyers. They will also negotiate the terms of the sale, such as price and any payment terms. Before closing the sale, find a good escrow service to make sure that both the buyer and the seller are protected. Of course, we have those resources. We'll talk more about this subject next week. And next week, we'll be talking to Jason Hunt of Merged Media and Fresh Crowd. And that's it for this week's Adult Site Broker Talk. I'd once again like to thank my guest, Filip of Quantos Technology. Talk to you again next week on Adult Site Broker Talk. I'm Bruce Friedman.